We've finally arrived at Narrowcraft Marina for some security and ease during December. It's time for a list of chores, explores, and an unexpected leak. Boop, 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 bobbing along. Hi, we're Stuart and Emmie, and we're child-free after infertility. So we decided to change our life plans and moved on to a narrowboat. We're sharing our adventures here, and you're welcome to join us. Hello.
Hello.
It's how many days have we? This is our second day in the marina, and kind of the start of this time in the marina is chores.
Yeah.
And Stu's made a fun discovery.
Yeah, I have made a fun discovery. Our water pump is leaking. The water pump itself is still working fine, although it has been making some slightly odd noises every now and again. But I don't know if you can see this little black dark patch under there. This sort of casing around here seems to be, there's a bit of a wet patch there as well, seems to be leaking. It's covered in plumber's putty where someone's clearly tried to, I wonder if it's actually been leaking previously and someone's padded it out with plumber's putty and tape. And it's probably just given up, and we either need to try and repack it or potentially look at replacing it, I suspect. The water pump is how we get water to our taps, shower, everywhere else in the boat. So it takes it from our big tank in there, pressure up, basically pushes it into these pressurized expansion tank thingies we've got everywhere, and then when we turn our tap on, water comes out.
Right, so Stu's going to see if he can get some advice. Since we're in the marina, it's a good place for it, and at least should be an easy place to get a new one if we need one.
You probably want some more of these tokens as well, don't you?
Yeah, I'm going to do some laundry this morning, and you need tokens to pop in the electricity, to use electricity for the water, the machines. That came out wrong. In order to pay for the laundry, you swap money for tokens and put the tokens in a thing that powers the machines, gives you electricity. Yeah. Off I go. That bit where we're just looking at the water pump, it's behind the steps from our front door.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I've just realised what a mess the boat is.
Everything's a mess. This is why we need a day of chores. I think we're sort of treating this week as time to get stuff sorted. So like with the relatively good timing of our water pump starting to fail while we're in a marina and having a dress that stuff can be posted to, our gas pole's just gone. It's one of my least favourite boat jobs to do, probably more least favourite than emptying toilets, partially because you just get used to that quite quickly, but also because it involves standing on a slippery small metal front of a boat, jangling around with a wrench, trying to undo something that goes round the wrong way, and you forget that it goes round the wrong way, so you sit there tightening it for ages before untightening it. And then you've got to get the sodding thing out, and that's heavy, and you've got to get it out of a space that's barely big enough for one of them, and there are two of them in there. Good fun. Hello.
Hi. I'm helping by drawing.
Yeah.
I've got a commission deadline coming up.
I mean, you're actually you're working. It's not an excuse.
I'd definitely rather be doing this than lugging a gas bottle, though. So.
Fair enough. So I'm going to make a cake.
Now we test my notes. Don't film me.
I know, I'm just surprised that you haven't noticed that I've baked cake.
You baked cake?
Yeah. I even said I'm baking cake.
Can I have a cake?
No.
But why?
Because I'm doing topping. Alright, you can have a cake. You can have an untopped cake. I know how much you like cake.
It's hot. Boop.
Look at that. Yeah.
Look at that. It's like being in a painting. Bit muddy, but we've made it.
Yeah.
Welcome to Little Moreton Hall, a wonderfully wonky Tudor manor house. I think so.
It's wonky, the house is wonky.
Stu. Yes. Whoa.
Feel the breeze.
Yeah, you can feel a strong breeze coming up. Guess that's the moat down there. Look, it's mistletoe. Apparently Morton means marsh farm, and it certainly is. That was Little Moreton Hall, and it's a glorious wonky building.
Yeah.
So beautiful and ornate. Basically, like really original building, like
Yeah.
really untouched since Tudor times.
Pretty
No.
much, yeah. Since about the, I think you said about 1630s, it's pretty much untouched, other than sort of,
honest fixing,
yeah.
rather than being poshed up or like changed for fashion. How interesting. Such information. Back on the towpath.
Stylish.
I don't know how you've done this. Am I as bad? How am I?
A bit splattered, but you're not too bad.
I'm not bad at all. How did you do that?
I'm just making a stew for later.
A stew.
A stove stew.
A stove
made by
stew. A stew stove stew.
Yeah.
A stew stove stew. I'll shut up. Stu, your stew looks a bit over the top.
I might have to transfer to a bigger pot.
Finished stew. Boop.
We aren't sailing.
So Stu, I didn't notice a thing. It's actually a bit scary. I'm not really aware if we're tipped a little bit.
You
but
thought we were tipping the other way.
Stu woke up and was instantly like, we're tipping to the left.
Yeah. And I ran around all paranoid, checking the bilges, which oddly we do have some water in our back bilge, but
Probably rain.
like a drizzle, not enough to cause us to tip. Had a look at the bilge under the engine, and that was all like the water was off to one side. I was like, we're definitely tipping. And then when I went out, there was a bunch of other boaters sort of stood around. It turns out that just down by the bridge, the one that we cross all the time to get into Sculler Green,
That's the nearest town village.
there's a leak that's sprung there in the canal, and it's actually the water's running down into the village. So there's a CRT notice, and Heritage Marina, the one we're in at the moment, have come around putting a letter through everyone's boat door saying that it's going to take longer than expected, which doesn't really mean anything because it wasn't expected to happen anyway.
I think it just means they thought it would take so long when they initially heard what had happened, and it's going to take longer than that.
So what they'll probably end up doing is damming this section while they work on it, so that they can at least keep the other sections full of water.
And we had no plans to move anyway, so hopefully all is fine.
And it gets sorted by the end of December.
And today's plans, I've already started some laundry, which started well when I realised I started it without any soap in and I had to run back to the boat to get soap. I might not be at full energy. Not fully switched on. Anyway, laundry. But also, I don't know if we've mentioned, but our water pump was leaking a little bit. The housing for the water pump broke. So Stu ordered another pump, exactly the same, and I think we're replacing that today. Or should we give it a miss because of what's going on with the water?
Why?
I don't know. You was just giving me a suspicious look, and I thought,
I'm just nervous about doing it because I feel like anything that involves me touching the plumbing, I just end up making it worse. But it looks like quite a straightforward job, with the exception of I'm not entirely sure what I'm supposed to do with the expansion tanks. I'm going to give it a go, see what happens, and if it all goes terribly wrong, I'll blame Emmie.
But first, let's go see the hole in the canal.
That's where they've...
There's an enormous hole in the path. Well, it's time. Stu's going in to change the water pump. The water pump is off, the taps have been run, Stu's turned off the spinamajig. Sorry. So we think it's done!
Check it out!
Woo!
It does keep randomly pulsing at very occasionally. So we're not sure what that's about.
But it seems to be fine now. Boop. We're back at the boat after a lovely trip at Stu's parents'.
Yeah.
And picking up stock from the pop-up shop, seeing some friends.
Family dues, family stuffs. Yeah.
I had a day in Tottenham, and I went to see the pop-up shop, which was really lovely, and went to my favourite bakery, Prestige Patisserie, and just had an hour drinking tea and eating cake, which was really good. So anyway, we just wanted to hop on, because we haven't really been vlogging over this past few days, but just to say it's so good to be home. And it was such a relief actually to have the boat be in a marina, because I did keep dreaming about sinking boats, but really I wasn't anxious about the boat.
So did I.
But generally, like, I wasn't constantly thinking, what if someone's broken into our boat? What if our boat's sunk? Or anything like that, which usually would be sort of this nagging thing in the back of my mind, but not being brought up because I don't want to freak Stu out. So yes,
Yeah.
we've come back to Annie, and Annie is safe and sound, and we didn't need to worry about her, and we weren't worrying about her. Maybe a little somewhere deep inside,
Maybe.
because of the dreams, but anyway, we got it's a week to Christmas.
Oh God, let's go to bed.
Okay, good night.
We're gonna do the water tank, clean the water tank today, which we've been putting off doing for about half a year longer than we should have, because it's quite a lot of energy and it's not the brightest day. We're gonna hook up to the electricity meter, the electric, and how do you work? I'm really good at filming. Alright, number two, Rolek. Hello, Rolek. Apparently I've successfully put my card in. $909 kilowatt hours, I see. Electricity is on after a little bit of fiddling and getting it working. I'm gonna start filling up the water tank. We need to clean the water tank. It's really easy. You just put like a sterilising tablet in it and then you've just got to flush it through a few times, but it takes a lot of power. And water. So it's much easier to do when you've got a tap right outside and the power's right outside.
We're supposed to... Hi! I'm video editing. We're supposed to clean the water tank. It's a steel water tank. I think you get different things, but ours is a steel one. And as I understand it, we're meant to annually put a sterilising tablet in there.
In you go. That's satisfying. Oh, it's not in. It's just sort of stuck.
Oh no!
Oh no! So the other thing we need to do, quite desperately, is wash this hose. So I'm going to do that in the bath. I don't think I can think of anything much duller than cleaning our water tank. Cleaning our water system. So I'm going to try and think of some ways to sex it up. Giving our hose its annual bath. Filth. It's a bit grim, isn't it? I still haven't thought of a way of making this more exciting. I'm sorry. I just don't understand how there's so much water still.
Well, that's for ages.
Yeah, I worked out that there should be like 50 minutes of running the tap. It's been at it for hours. Finally, it's empty.
Woo!
Time to refill it and empty it again.
But we'll leave it there. Thank you for joining us through our chores. We hope you enjoyed the video. Next week we'll head to the Peak District while we still have the car, and it's really beautiful. Hope to see you then and have a lovely week. Bye.